In the mid-19th century, a new sound began to echo across the vast, untamed landscapes of America and Britain. Not the crack of a rifle or the cry of a lone bird, but the rhythmic chuff of steam, the clang of steel on steel. It was the sound of the future arriving, one iron rail at a time. This wasn't just about building a new way to travel, it was about building a new world. And at the heart of this revolution were men of immense vision and ruthless ambition. The railway barons. They weren't just laying tracks, they were laying the foundations of modern capitalism, redrawing maps and forging empires not of land, but of commerce and control. How did these individuals, often from humble beginnings, amass such incredible power? How did they transform scattered towns into interconnected nations? And what was the true cost of their monumental dream? This is the story of how simple track layers became the undisputed kings of a new industrial age. Before the locomotive, the world moved at the pace of a horse. A journey of 100 miles was an ordeal, a week-long trek fraught with peril. Commerce was local, information was slow, and a nation was more a collection of isolated communities than a unified whole. Then, a series of brilliant inventions changed everything. It started with men like George Stephenson, a self-taught engineer from a poor mining family. He didn't invent the steam engine, but he perfected it, creating the rocket, a machine that could haul 30 tons at the unheard-of speed of 17 miles per hour. Suddenly, the impossible seemed possible. The Liverpool and Manchester Railway, opened in 1830, wasn't just a novelty. It was a proof of concept that ignited the imagination of investors and entrepreneurs. The age of wonder had begun. This spark of invention quickly caught fire, leaping across the Atlantic to a young and sprawling United States. Here, the challenge was not just connecting cities, but conquering a continent. Men like Cornelius Vanderbilt, Leland Stanford, and Gould saw the opportunity. They weren't engineers like Stephenson, they were something new. Capitalists, speculators, empire builders. Vanderbilt, who began with a single ferry boat, methodically built a shipping and railroad monopoly that controlled the flow of goods into New York City, the nation's economic heart. He famously said, "I have been insane on the subject of money-making all my life." His ambition was a reflection of the era. The railroad wasn't just a business, it was a crusade, a manifestation of manifest destiny in iron and steam. Companies raced to lay track, funded by massive government land grants and a frenzy of public and private investment. Each mile of track was a victory, pushing the frontier westward, connecting mines to factories and farms to distant markets. The rhythmic clang of the hammer on the spike became the pulse of a nation in the midst of a spectacular and often brutal transformation. The scale of this undertaking was almost beyond comprehension. Tens of thousands of workers, many of them recent immigrants from Ireland and China, were conscripted into an army of labor. They blasted through mountains, bridged impossible chasms, and laid track across scorching deserts and frozen plains. The work was grueling and incredibly dangerous. For every mile of track on the Central Pacific Railroad, it's estimated that at least one worker, often a Chinese laborer, lost his life in an accident or from the harsh conditions. They were the anonymous, unsung heroes whose sweat and blood paved the way for progress. While they toiled, the barons in their New York and San Francisco offices played a different kind of game. They manipulated stocks, bribed politicians, and formed illegal trusts or pools to fix prices and crush competition. Gould, perhaps the most notorious of them all, was a master of the stock market, treating railroads not as transportation systems, but as pawns in his financial chess game. He would buy a railroad, strip it of its assets, and leave it bankrupt, all while making a personal fortune. The public, who had once hailed these men as heroes, began to see a darker side. The ambition that built the railroads was now creating an overwhelming system of corporate power that seemed beyond anyone's control. The dream of a connected, prosperous nation was real, but it came with a heavy price. The very railroads that brought grain from a farmer's field to the city could also bankrupt him with exorbitant shipping rates. The competition that was supposed to drive innovation was being systematically eliminated. The public, once filled with wonder, now felt a sense of disillusionment and betrayal. The barons, once seen as captains of industry, were now depicted in cartoons as bloated, monstrous octopuses, their tentacles strangling farmers, workers, and even the government itself. The system they had built was a marvel of engineering, but it was also a machine for creating staggering inequality. It concentrated wealth and power into the hands of a few, leaving a trail of broken lives, monopolized industries, and deep-seated public anger. This backlash led to a new kind of revolution, a political one. Calls for regulation grew louder, leading to landmark legislation like the Interstate Commerce Act of 1887. The era of unchecked power was beginning to face its first real challenge, as the people fought to reclaim control over the very networks that defined their lives. So, what is the legacy of the railway barons? It's a complicated one. They were visionaries who accelerated history, stitching together a continent and creating the integrated economy we live in today. They were also ruthless monopolists whose actions highlighted the dangers of unchecked corporate power, sparking a century of debate over the role of government in regulating business. Their story gives us a sense of cautious hope. It shows that while technological and economic change can be disruptive and create immense challenges, society can adapt. It can learn, react, and create new rules to balance progress with fairness. The epic saga of the railroads is not just a story of steam and steel, but a timeless lesson about the constant struggle between ambition and accountability, innovation and justice. It reminds us that the empires we build, whether of iron or of data, must ultimately serve the people they connect. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past interesting, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories about how our world came to be.